The employer asks me, where do you see yourself in 5 years? 5 years? I can barely survive this week. The future mutates, interests shift, obsessions rotate. Maybe I'll be playing fantasy games, maybe I'll be reading manhwas, maybe I'll be dusting off ancient books. One thing never changes. Goblins always suck. I started to think I was losing my mind. There was no way they could be that pathetic. I refused to believe it. So I began searching for goblins everywhere. In every game, every book, every story. They were awful.
Wanna give me a cavity search? Make sure I'm not hiding anything?
It all started with Goblins 1991. The 3 goblins actually represent one full-fledged person. And they're complete idiots. One can only fight, one can only cast spells, and the third can only interact with objects. Literally 3 goblins in a boat, to say nothing of the dog. Well, saying nothing of the dogs, there's nobody in the boat. I haven't even mentioned their design. The developers set the tone from the start. Don't take this fools seriously. And who cares that they're the main characters? Mythical creatures, supposedly legendary. Let them go fight chickens, that's their level. And then I started reading the manhwa Surviving the Game as a Barbarian. The world is basically a roguelike game system. What's great is how ordinary the main character is. He's not all powerful, he messes up sometimes. He's so pathetic at the start that even a barbarian with boosted stats, and even a guy who's already played this game before, can get caught by a low-level goblin. And yet, despite the massive bleeding and a paralyzed barbarian, this goblin still can't kill him. A completely useless piece of trash. And since we are talking about manhwas, here's another perfect example. SSS class Suicide Hunter. Early on, the main character steals a skill from the Goblin King that let him control all goblins through him. Fast forward 100 chapters, and he's in a quest where he has to develop the race he chose. In his case, goblins. Yes, it's literally a strategy game. Even with an overpowered skill and guiding them the right way, when they are transported 200 years into the future, the goblins are taken over by snails. Snails. Just snails. And at that moment I didn't even know whether to cry or laugh. And apparently, if I were a goblin, nobody would ask me, where do you see yourself in 5 years? They'd just point, why ask about a future that doesn't exist? Oh, have you ever watched Russian TV series? I just got chills and not the good kind. It's always the same about criminals, cops, rich people, rich criminals, rich cops and somehow criminal cops. Just let me go. They're a collection of weird clichés. Most of them are the kind of stuff that would make you want to use a memory wiping pen. And then there's Magical Police Station. Briefly, a Russian TV series about a special police unit that uses fabulous artifacts to catch fairy tale creatures. Every officer is a walking cliché, but there's one guy who stands out, and not in a good way. Meet the main idiot. Even with the most powerful relic in the show, the speed boots, he got one shot by the wood folk. Blackout, sweet fairy tale dreams. The wood folk, by the way, are basically just people made of wood. Dude, you are the fucking Flash. So, across 2 entire seasons, this man, with access to magical artifacts, managed to catch exactly one creature, a goblin. No magic, no relics, just his hands. And he won. Do they treat goblins as worthless in all cultures or what? Exception proves the rule. You know, there are plenty of examples where goblins aren't like I described, where they are actually part of society, or maybe even something to be feared. Probably. Let's break it down. Harry Potter. Goblins are highly intelligent creatures, defying every cliché. A real business, a global magical bank. One of the most important gears in the entire magical world. The Ranrock Rebellion, they fought for their rights after being banned from using wands, and instead of giving up, they evolved, learning to wield magic without them. They carry themselves like aristocracy, constantly preaching about honor. But here's the thing, behind all of that hides pure incompetence. Gringotts, the most secure bank in the magical world, was robbed 3 times. Its entire security system was dismantled by a group of spotty teenagers. And keep in mind, one of them was a ginger. Their famous honor, Griphook, the face of their so-called aristocracy, betrayed his allies for a piece of metal. A sword he couldn't even physically use. And don't get me started on his appearance. The man looks like someone took a real goblin and stretched another goblin over the top of him. Their rebellions, a noble fight for the rights of oppressed goblins. The score 100% losses. They're right about their grievances. They're intelligent. They're ambitious. They're just catastrophically bad at everything they do. And here we have the pinnacle of exception proves the rule, Goblin Slayer. In this anime, goblins look both terrifying and like Dobby from Harry Potter tried to rebrand. They're truly deranged creatures that kill anything and anyone on their territory. They're insanely stupid, but extremely cunning. Traps, group attacks, they even figured out to fight only in dark places where adventurers struggle to navigate. They can make simple contraptions and attack using whatever's at hand, torches for setting fires for example. But in the very first episode, the Slayer called them cowards who fear the light. That already casts doubt on them as real combat units. And just think about it. No matter how formidable they're supposed to be in this anime, the author still made a full 24-episode slasher. No, seriously, the anime presents them as dangerous, yet devotes the entire run to methodically cutting them down. It's more like trolling goblins than glorifying them. So let's figure out why goblins don't deserve respect. The thing is, goblins come from English and French folklore, and in old school fantasy, size matters. Hopefully only in fantasy. But these little bastards simply can't compete with their relatives, orcs, who are several times bigger and more savage. The first recorded appearance of goblin-like creatures was in Le Morte d'Arthur by Sir Thomas Malory. They weren't called goblins there, but the description matched perfectly. They were referred to as little devils. And of course, they were defeated with ease. As usual. In Tolkien's famous books, goblins and orcs were essentially synonymous, though still closer to the classic understanding of goblins. They were cruel creatures who, in practice, mostly served as cannon fodder. Compared to other interpretations, they were actually quite intelligent, but they always groveled before those who were stronger. Intelligent enough to build weapons, not powerful enough to rule, destined to die in someone else's war. If you've ever played Overlord, you know, goblins in older games are just useless gremlins, only capable of overwhelming with numbers. In other video games, goblins are more like a stepping stone for low-level beginners. You could say the entire race exists just for the tutorial. They're the ones you practice on before facing the real enemies. So, this race is literally trolling from the old days, keeping the tradition alive. Even in Zelda, a goblin is... yeah. There are even articles like Best Goblin Design in Video Games. By the way, that's where I got this hilarious picture. And here's another funny one. God, look at them. They kind of look like pugs. Styx, Master of Shadows. It's a story about an old goblin who mostly just runs around in stealth. But he's actually pretty resourceful. He's weak in combat and wins by using his brain. Alright, I'll admit it, I kind of ate dirt here. Styx is cool. It bothers me, because from the very first day this idea formed in my head, I was right. Nobody takes them seriously. Everywhere they're either disregarded or used as expendable currency, a race that nobody wants to deal with. Goblins don't exist in spite of being weak, they exist because of it. Every culture, every author, every game developer, take them and fills them with whatever's convenient to laugh at. They didn't accidentally end up at the bottom. They were put there. Because someone has to lose to the tutorial zone. Someone has to get knocked out by the most useless cop in the show. Someone has to get conquered by snails. Goblins are a function. As long as goblins exist, there's always someone worse off than you.